Welcome to the Green Island Podcast. I'm Bernard Sheehan, joined as always by James Sheehan. We are the co-authors of Hard Border and part of the Green Island series here. We're continuing our podcasts, talking about things going on in Ireland as the Petri dish, but also things going on around the world as some of this is getting rolled out worldwide. So, James, thanks for joining.
Well, thanks for having me. Absolutely great. And a lot to talk about. I don't think we talked since Trump got almost killed. So a lot to talk about.
Definitely. And stuff is happening in Ireland too. Just want to touch on that because, it's basically stuff that we've been talking about, for over half a year now with, the immigration scene. I think some of that was maybe put on hold while essentially the left was getting its butt kicked in the elections, but now they're feeling strong again. So it's time to continue to resume the out of control immigration from all lands around the world. And good point was brought up the other day that Ireland has never been an oppressor, so they can't really go with that theme of like, oh, well, hey, Ireland has come in and been, overtaken other lands. So now, turnabout is fair play. It's not like it's England or Belgium or, France or any of these other places that, are going around and taking land around the world. Ireland doesn't have that type of history, but yet still it's being subjected to a ton of immigration from third world countries. And as we've talked about before, you import the third world, you get the third world. And so you're seeing a lot of that in the streets as well, but also as they're importing them, they're putting them in, various areas that they're setting aside and going to be building. I don't know. I guess you'd almost call tent cities, and folks who live in the area are none too happy about it. The latest one is the kind of town or suburb of Coolock in Dublin, kind of North Dublin, a little bit south of the airport, a little bit south and west of the airport there, but still, it's you've had a lot of demonstrations. They've been peaceful for the most part, but the guards again, they're feeling strong, so they're going up against the people, and it hasn't been that pretty. I mean, there have been, some of the flags have been torn down, and we've just seen this kind of come back. I think it was basically what we expected, and now here's another example of it.
100%. I haven't been kind of paying too much attention of that just because there's been so much going on in the States. But hey, they get what they elect. And, this is what we've been saying this forever, that this is what's going to happen. But trust me, everybody who's upset are still going to elect the same old politicians to keep on rolling over them, But unfortunately for them, because I got some images from someone on my WhatsApp just today about these kind of the police out. But, the north side of Dublin is probably the most conservative side of the country. That's where the Conor McGregor constituents are that kind of want things the way they were. Especially that's the constituents of the north side of Dublin that have been kind of used to getting all the government handouts. That's
Yeah.
kind of the poor side of Dublin, and that's being now challenged by new immigrants coming in that are competing for those handouts. So
Right.
it's good to see kind of at least someone's alive in that country, but no one's kind of standing up for it. And who knows? Who knows what will happen? I mean, unless there's something very big. I got a text, as I mentioned, from someone's like, "Oh, it's anarchy in Ireland." I'm like, dude, it's been anarchy for 20 years. It's just that they've been doing it so behind the scenes, and no one cared to even mention it.
Right.
Now it's affecting you guys straight up. You didn't care when everybody was getting their stuff stolen by the government. You didn't care anything like that. Oh, that's too bad, as long as it doesn't affect me. But now it's affecting you, and now I don't. So I kind of put a cheeky response back to the guy. I'm like, this has been going on forever. It's just you guys have refused to accept it. It's
That's
kind
right.
of like U.S. The Democrat, this whole Biden puppet scheme has been going on for 4 years. It's just you're finally seeing it, or the everybody's recognizing it because you can't hide it anymore.
That's
And
it.
that's the only reason. That's the only thing that's really going on is it's getting exposed, and people don't know how to handle it. But you think the people in Ireland on the south side of Dublin are going to stand up and fight it? No, they even if there's a tent city going in their backyard, they're still not going to stand up and fight it because they're so weak, and that's it's weak men versus strong men at this day and age.
Well, they did have a spot that they were going to put those folks in. I guess there was a hotel or something, and obviously we're following this as well on our X account. Green Island account on X, or formerly Twitter. And there was this location that they said, if you guys try to put immigrants in here, we're going to burn it down. And they did. It went on fire the other day, and it's completely out of commission. So, again, we haven't seen really that level of, if you like, violence or kind of pushback since, since Christmas. That's when we were kind of seeing that a lot, going into the new year. But now it's really getting more and more out in the open. So again, we're tracking it. There's really nothing we can do other than call it out, but it is going to continue to happen. And now they're really not hiding it as much anymore. It's like, listen, you try to move people in here that are not Irish, and again, as you called out, taking our resources, we're going to burn this place down. And not to hurt anybody, but it's not going to happen.
Kind of have a problem with these refugees, especially the ones coming into Ireland, because they're coming into Ireland with money. They're not refugees. They're playing the game like all these other ones, directed by the powers that be and, the deep state that says everybody's a refugee when in fact they're not. And they're coming in with a lot of money. Especially the Ukrainians are coming in with a lot of money. So they're getting a double dip. And I may have mentioned in previous episodes, but not only are they sucking off the Irish government for anything they can get, but then they have a bank account back home that's filled with hundreds of thousands of dollars that they're actively participating in the property market in Ireland, bidding, young families out of homes that are scraping, for years to get a deposit together.
Right.
And that's happening virtually everywhere, hotel rooms, everything. They're taking up all these kind of resources, and it's just jacking up the prices on everybody else. So, it's kind of is in your face. But like even the message I just mentioned that I got from someone, it's just like, oh, the Queen's Guard is out, kind of, alluding to the cops and kind of, being kind of more of a Praetorian Guard, I guess you would tell. I'm just like, yeah, but they've been like that for the last 40 years or probably ever,
Yeah.
the guards. It's just you're finally seeing them actually doing work on behalf of the government, which is keeping their people aligned rather than protecting their citizens. But this is no different. The guard was always kind of the enforcer, and you were worried if they stopped by because they weren't there to help you. They were there to get you, and
That's right.
so welcome to the real world now. I mean, people are waking up, I guess, but a little too late.
Yeah, and we've been calling out,
Should have.
again, we've been calling that out on X, saying, hey, they're the Stasi. They're just there as the secret police / enforcers to come in and get people in line. They're not there to help you. They're just like you say, Praetorian Guard is also a good analogy. I mean, they are just there to prop up the system, and they're not police officers. Really, they are really just enforcers of the regime.
That's exactly right. That's 100%. And they will go and force, or intimidate,
Yep.
and that's how it works. So, welcome to Ireland in 2024, and that's why I got the hell out of there. And I feel sorry, for anybody who won't take the man leap to leave. You
Yep.
know, even if you're coming to America, it's probably safer than Ireland at this point. Or go somewhere.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
otherwise you're just trapped. You're a slave.
Exactly. And COVID was just a dry run. It's going to keep on happening. So we're going to watch it. And obviously, we're switching over and seeing a lot of this stuff happening in America too with immigration, the southern border. But it's also been crazy because it's a presidential year. And, we haven't talked about it, like you say, since the attempted assassination of Trump. And, it's been a little over a week now since that happened. The Republican convention happened too. And even as of today, Biden has dropped out. So a lot has happened in the last, week and a half. And it's been crazy. And there's probably still more to come. But, Trump essentially living through an assassination attempt, especially the way that he did, where they, this guy or multiple people, we don't know, had him in his sights, and he missed. Trump just happened to turn his head just enough where it, went by him, nicked him on the ear. We don't know how much damage is there, but there's a lot of blood vessels there, so it was blood all over the place. And sorry, sorry, people who went after him, you missed, and you know who you are.
Well, 100%. I mean, I can't think they would go to that level, but it just shows the day and age we're living in. Because having seen what Ireland did to us, that they just didn't care at the end of the day, like, fuck the courts, fuck everything. We're just going to nail you guys, steal your assets, even though we were small timers, like, because you were the only ones that stood up and fought. But I mean, to go after, and I mean, like, I've been watching kind of reruns of that shooting or people's commentating. I mean, if that's not a setup, there's no setup. I mean, I believe it's 100% orchestrated, like, by the Secret Service and whoever, the FBI. I mean, just everything. Like, they were hosing down the site that he was on the roof like 2 days or a day later, not holding it for forensic. The FBI coming in, like, all this stuff is just like he had a line of sight. He was on the roof. People saw him. He had like 20 minutes to kind of get him off. Like, the lapse in times was, this is a setup. They tried to get him killed. The government, like Joe Biden, that's probably why they're freaking out. That Joe Biden probably gave the okay to go have him killed, and then they have to now remove him to kind of get rid of the evidence. I just don't believe. I believe that's kind of my strong belief is he was going to be taken out. That a nobody shooter, and I don't know if you heard kind of what he was wearing, but like, he hid his gun. He mapped it out before. He had like all the tools to do it. He even had like encrypted comms, which is so hard to get. Why
Right.
would you have encrypting communications? Like, I was hearing one commentator is like, you'll understand encrypted communications is more important than like the best arsenal you can have in any kind of police department or whatever. Like, it's so actively watched, that particular piece of equipment, that it's like it's within the citadel of a citadel within an army barracks, from how it was kind of described to me.
Wow.
Which is, how does a 20-year-old dork get hold of encrypted comms unless she's your typical kind of, let's take him off for a summer and treat him how to shoot via, i.e., the CIA, and get him mapped, and then he's gone for summer camp right out of, and now he's a deep state guy ready to, you know, uh, call up whenever he needed. Like, it's typically, it looks just like out of the movie, to be
Right.
honest with you. It
Yep.
looks straight out of a movie.
Yep. And who was he communicating with? Who's on the other end of that line? That's what I'd like to
That's
know.
that's exact. That's exact. Whoever's kind of given the CIA or the Secret Service probably the center that's telling him to stand down for 10 minutes while he's on the roof.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy got, like, he should be dead. Trump should be dead, and there should be a civil war right now. I mean, to within reason,
That was the
And
plan.
the fact that they're going to blase over it now and kind of like, oh, business as usual. It's like, dude, you just try to kill this guy.
Right.
And if you ever hear Alex Jones, I mean, he's pretty far out there, but he's pretty solid with regards to some of the information he comes with. And he's just like, no, they started it now that they actually have to kind of complete the job, because now they know assassins are out there trying to get them, i.e., within the government. So you're going to see kind of a huge explosion near, that will just level like a city block just to take them out, because at the end of the day, who's going to stand up and start the Civil War?
Right.
It'll be kind of business as usual then. It's like, okay, he's gone now. Elect Ted Cruz or whoever you're going to put in there, or Lindsey Graham, one of our puppets. It's just, but yeah, they went for it. They went for it,
They
and
did.
yeah, so crazy, crazy stuff going on, isn't it?
Well, they saw
Everything.
that they couldn't put him away, in jail because all the stuff was getting dropped after that debate, and people were just like, we're getting out, we're not supporting Biden anymore, and then the next step, and you've got folks out there who called it, who were just said the next step, the only thing they can really do is assassinate him, and they took their shot. So as you said, maybe they'll try to take out a city block, but I don't think he's going to have the same level of protection that he did on that day. He's going to have real protection going on from here on out. And if it's not going to be the Secret Service, he's going to have private protection because it's just that's the way it's got to be.
100%, 100%. It's just game is on now, and I think this isn't going away. And the Democrats have really kind of, because they've had no, so we say, filter for the last, say, 5 or 7 years, and this is even to do with Trump because he didn't put any of those bastards in jail.
Right.
when he was in prison. Like Hillary, they all should have went to jail. And this is the problem. So it's like now you're going to get a second bite at it. Are you going to send them to jail this time? Because they're coming after everybody. I mean, they're coming after us and we're nobodies.
Yeah.
That's who they're coming after. It's just like, so you go man up and we will see, because what's good for the goose is good for the gander. But no one's ever going to learn unless people start going to jail, or they're just going to keep on trying to take swipes at you. But it'll be interesting. Be interesting to see. I'm kind of excited, but it's such a topsy turvy kind of season. I mean, who would have thought he would get killed? If they tried to kill Barack Obama and he was running for president, he'd be president by now.
The
But this is not the way it works with
But the
Trump.
place would have been up for grabs. One of the things you didn't see was rioting in the streets or anything like that. When they tried to take out Trump, it was just like, all right, let's go. Let's get it together, everybody. He's okay. And they unified at the convention and really was just like, we're going to continue to vote, to get Biden out, because this is, like you say, it's like a movie. And it's there's nothing that they won't do now at this point. And as you said, I think Hillary, just as a side note, Hillary should have gone to jail. Did you ever see Mission Impossible, the first one with Tom
Yes, of
Cruise?
course.
So
Yes.
do you remember, like, the whole point of that movie was he had to break into the CIA and get the knock list, which is what do you call it? The people who were basically kind of out there and CIA assets. Well, Hillary Clinton had that entire list on her servers. So that's been out there since, at least since she was running the Secretary of State. So it's like there was another movie. Nobody ever talks about that. But that whole movie was about, we can't let this knock list out in the open, and have this list of, essentially assets out there. And she had it. And that it was broken into. And it's just like it's been out there for years now, thanks to Hillary Clinton. So, I mean, she honestly should have been put in jail for that. But anyway, I digress. I just thought that's always kind of bothered me, that it's like,
100%.
this stuff that was the thing of movies is real now. And we just got lucky that, I think the world got lucky, because World War III would have started. It would have been like, okay, there's nobody. If Trump's gone, what the Democrats have coming up, because as we record this, Biden has just stepped down. The Democrats are going to into their convention and they're going to be fighting it out. That's that's what they wanted for the Republican convention. And since Trump lived, it didn't happen.
Exactly, but it's so crazy that part of their scheme was to actually have him bumped off. It just shows that death and suicide and killing is all part of their scheme, and that's why it's like you can only go so far fighting in, say, Ireland, because there was only a point where, like, we were beating them. It's better just to
Right.
arrest you, throw you in jail, and then at least we have the narrative then. Oh, he's in jail, he must have done something wrong. It's like, no, these fucking communists arrested me because I kept on beating them in civil court, and they didn't want to change all their precedents. And that's virtually what happened to Ireland, and we had to jump ship at night because people are like, they're coming for you. The guards are going to arrest you, and they'll make something up to keep you in entertainment. And welcome to America now, where they're like, oh well, we just got killed Trump now, and it's just like, dude, they'll kill anybody.
Yeah.
If it shows now anything, is they'll kill anybody to get in their way. And I know the Dems have a long list of people they've been bumping off for years, but I mean that's why people got to start waking up and putting these fuckers in jail, or everybody's going to be on the kill list. And I'm just so sick of like why Hillary Clinton wasn't put in jail. It's like, Donald, next time you get elected now, throw her ass in jail, or the statute of limitations isn't over, throw her ass in jail. Like,
Right.
enough is enough. Throw them all in jail that's done illegal work, and start kind of doing the rule of law again, instead of coming after fictitious crimes like that, like you, or even what they're doing with us. They just come after the people that kind of will have a backbone, and they go after, they support weaklings like Kamala Harris, who is just a joke. I mean, geez, it'll be fun to watch that convention, but I mean, man, they tried to bump off Trump. Crazy stuff, that we're living in right now.
Well, that's the thing too, with like Kamala and really all Democrats and a lot of these politicians on both sides, quite honestly, they dirty them up. You've got stuff on people. They always have something, and they were really only getting started with Biden. If he hadn't stepped down today, and he should really step down from the presidency, but they were just cranking, they were going to crank up the pain more and more because they know everything about him. I mean, he's been out there for 50 years, so they've got a ton of stuff on him. They were also saying like, hey, we're not going to fund your presidential library. You're going to be going down in history worse than Jimmy Carter, or you can be made a hero and step down right now. So it was like carrot in the stick for him but it was also from the standpoint of seeing the press go after a Democrat. I mean, they wilted within a couple of weeks, and Biden or Trump has withstood this for 9 years now, 10 years almost of being harassed and constantly gone after, not just by the press, but also the FBI, CIA, all the rest of these three-letter agencies that didn't think that he deserved to be president. So it was their position to be like, he's not going to be president, we're going to take him down. And they're still trying to do that now. And as we saw last week, they tried to kill him, and they'll probably try again. I think that's where Alex Jones is coming from, with his thoughts is that that they need to take him out. And they are also saying, he was also, kind of opining or saying that they'll go after Biden too. Like maybe now they won't, but they would have tried to kill him. And if they did, to say like, oh, listen, it was some crazy Trumper who went for revenge. Do you know what I mean? So all this stuff is really kind of up for grabs right now, and we're just watching it happen. But like we talked about, this are the type of things that we've been talking about for years, that we've touched on in the novel and will continue to touch on in these other novels. But it's real. It's not fiction. It's reality.
All our novels and all our information is based on kind of more or less almost true events. I mean,
Right?
it's just that people don't want to believe it,
They don't.
and that's what's kind of going on now. It's like you won't believe your lying eyes. But that was my theory as well. Like if Joe Biden didn't do what his power but guys wanted him to do, he was going to wind up dead. I wouldn't think more of an assassination because like that's too on the Secret Service, but he would have wound up in his bed dead. Jill Biden would have given him something or so, because she's just as crazy as like they're probably showing him, pedophile pictures of him and some kids or something at Epstein Island. I mean, it's like, Joe, we got to go so far. But that was kind of my having dealt with the communists. I mean, you get the carrot, or you take, or they'll come with the stick, man.
That's
And
it.
don't think it's like, oh well, I took the carrot. I didn't take the carrot because I have so much on my side. You don't take the carrot, they will burn down everything around you. It doesn't matter, and just clean it up later. You don't take their carrot, and then the problem is though, you take their carrot and they own you. That's
Right.
the real problem we
That's
had, is like, we don't want to be part of your group. We don't want to merge with you. We want our own thing. No, that's not what we have in mind for you. So you coming with us, or are we just going to destroy you and take everything from you? Doesn't matter how we do it, we'll get around that. And I think Joe Biden was virtually on the cuff of that. Like, okay, not only are you going to get your presidential library, Hunter's going to jail, you'll probably be next up for jail. Jill's going to jail. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
Stuff like that. I would say it was more like that. Not really kind of like, let's give you $1 billion for a nonprofit in your own name to help heal the world. It would have been more like, you don't resign now, tomorrow, everybody, you're going to lose, and you're all going to jail anyway.
Right.
I would say it was more than just your kind of your legacy. Joe Biden gives a shit about legacy. Oh, they do to a degree, but it's more like, I can't take it with me, and I've already sold my soul to the devil. So legacy doesn't really mean shit to me now, to a degree.
Well, if he doesn't have that legacy, I mean, the grift is really over. So they need the money, and they know that the grift is kind of over now anyway. They can't continue on to raise money or do deals with Biden out. And that affects his whole family because it's all a family business. It all goes through him, and it's all, deals not only with Hunter, but also like his brother. And that whole family was getting paid by China. I mean, it's like literally go down the list. Every single one of them was getting cut a check. So that's over now, but maybe they're going to cut him like, something to, as a parting gift.
It's funny though, because I wouldn't trust the Dems to do any sort of deal. with me. Like, okay, I'll resign from president. You're going to give me $1 billion in my own trust, and you're not going to come after me and blah blah blah. It's like, can you even trust the devil to, do his deal at the end of the day? Like, okay, I resign. Now, where's the money? I'd almost have to see it in a bank account.
Right.
In my name, because you just can't trust the devil, the communists, to do their a deal with them, but they do look after their own. In all fairness,
Yep.
I guess that's the currency they live with. You know,
Well, while they're useful, and Biden still has some use, he can still go out and be like, yeah, let's go, let's beat Trump, blah, blah, blah. Or he can take his ball and go home and just be, just start leaking all kinds of, stuff about Barack Obama or whatever, or, Michelle, whatever he
fair.
wants to do.
That's
So
fair.
he knows enough stuff as well on the other side. And, he does still have some usefulness, but the it keeps on going, and this is wild. This is just wild stuff. It's like 1968. I mean, obviously they haven't killed that many people, or they tried to kill Trump, and maybe there's more coming, but they killed RFK and MLK in 1968, and everything was up for grabs. So we'll see. It's
Yeah,
there.
absolutely. And it
Chicago.
shows like the Secret Service girl was using Signal, which is an encrypted telecommunication app with someone. No one knows what the girl Cheadle's her name.
Okay.
They're like, so that just came out today that she has a Signal account that she's been texting with someone. I mean, again, who took the shooters off the roof, and how did the other snipers not see the guy on the roof moving around? And why did you give him like 2 or 3 minutes while you should have shot him dead? Like, someone's taking directions and she's holding him off. Like, it's really deep state shit now we're in, you know?
It is. Well, also, like, who took his security detail away? I mean, a lot of those real Secret Service people were shifted over to Jill because she had something else going on just down the road in Pittsburgh. So he really only had like two or three real Secret Service people, and a lot of like those other bodies were brought in from Homeland Security. That's why when they were just like, what do we do now? What do we do? They didn't know what to do because none of them were Secret Service. There's like one or two.
See, now you have Joe and Jill in the mix.
Yep.
Wouldn't it be odd to say Joe's getting desperate, makes a silly move, pulled the trigger,
Yep.
and now we got to take Joe out of commission because he's a liability,
Well,
that's probably the
or Jill, because that head of the Secret Service now is was on Jill Biden's detail, and she really liked her, and that's why how she became the head of the whole freaking thing. So who knows how friendly they still are? And Joe isn't pulling all the strings, and hasn't been. So I mean, other than just kind of setting the tone of being a dickhead, I mean, who's really pulling the strings? Who's making the calls in that place? So
George Soros and all those type of guys that have all their minions in there running all the departments
yeah.
and all the councils and everything. Like, Joe's just a figurehead. That's why they were going to pull this. If Joe didn't come out of the debate, they would have kept on going as though nothing ever happened. You know?
Exactly. And quite honestly, let's be honest, this is the way he's been for over 4 years. And people have talked about it, and I know we've name checked Alex Jones, but checking Tucker Carlson is that he said that he had, what do you call it? He has a friend, or a friend who was really close with Joe Biden's sister, and they were worried about him running last time around, so 4 years ago, because he had dementia. They knew he had dementia, and they knew it was only going to get worse. So, like COVID, when he was running from the basement, it was perfect. It was a perfect setup, and they obviously knew the cocktail to get him going, to get him through, like, a couple of debates with Trump. And even though, I mean, the first debate was really on Trump, he kind of self-sabotaged, but they still have a cocktail. He can get up and give some speeches. I mean, that Biden, but he couldn't debate this last time, and it was enough, and everybody was watching. So, not that Kamala's any better, but I mean, there's more to come. And once Trump gets in, and then the investigations really get going, if they can, or if they can get that done before he is sworn in January, if he wins, assuming he wins. I mean, there's still a lot more to go.
Well, more, and that's why you can't hold out that the Dems will just freaking blow up the world to
Mm,
stop it because they have nowhere else to go. I mean, okay, they're not going to win the presidency, but now they might lose both chambers. And
right.
imagine the shit and investigations they're going to have on them because now the gloves are off. Like they had everything. They should have just left Trump alone and not gone like the lawfare. But the lawfare is so adamant now. It's so heavy that like everybody's feeling it. If you kind of, and it's just like, so what's good for the goose is the gander. It's like, okay, we got the president, we got the House, we got the Senate. Now we're coming after you
Right.
for fucking over everybody for the last 4 years and stuff like that. Let's investigate and let's put some people in jail, like real jail. Peter Navarro comes out for not going to Congress, and they didn't even appeal his thing yet. They sent him to jail.
Yep.
This is the problem that they're not even going through the proper mechanisms. They want you to feel the pain today. And I think, okay, great, then that's good enough. Let's investigate the judges and let's investigate everybody that kind of put Trump in jail and let's kind of go through down the line
Yep.
because we're all feeling it,
Yep.
in one way, shape, or form.
And Steve Bannon is still in jail, so he'll be out in a little
Yep.
while. But if they still have the guts to kind of continue on with that, I think they know that it hurts them more than it helps them now.
I wouldn't
So
say they're done with it, Bern, where they're very scared now. Now it's the time for the repercussions.
yeah, yeah,
That's why they need some sort of body, whether it be the House or Senate, to try to stop whatever's coming down the pipe because they just gone absolutely crazy the last 4 years
that's right.
against everybody. And it's like, well, now we got to shift the pendulum back, and you're not going to like it. And they're not going to put up with that because it's like, okay, we might have lost Biden, but at least we had the House and Senate to kind of stop Trump from doing his thing or stop investigations or even just impeach him and tie it up for another 2 years.
Right.
If that now they're worried about Biden causing all those races to go bye bye, and so like now they're kind of going crazy because like if they don't win the House and the Senate, let alone the presidency, I think they'll just let off a nuke or something. I'm always kind of worried about that. Or
Yeah,
Ukraine will do something to kind of almost halt the elections so they can stay in power a bit longer. Because after this one, they're out of power for such a long time, and there's so many investigations, they're just going to be wrecked. I don't see them coming back for a while after this.
yeah. Well, with that, let's call it for today because there's definitely more coming. It's going to be surprise witness after surprise witness, and October surprises have started in July, so there's plenty that's going to be coming, and we'll be here. We'll talk about it. Obviously, continue to talk about Ireland and Europe, but you called it early. This was the year of elections, and boy, it has not disappointed.
By golly, are they doing stuff to try to not change? Like you see Europe, like France, they elected like the far left, no one would touch with the 10-foot pole, just so they want to put the right wing in guys in. And I think it's still a stalemate. I haven't followed up, but the whole place is a mess because the liberals just do not accept the results of elections.
No,
That's a simple fact. They don't. And it's like, okay, they're still going to cheat to 10 or 20%, but will that even be enough? I mean, they're just known for cheating. Again, no one goes to jail. Where was it when if you mess with someone's ballot, you got a year in jail? For like none of that happens anymore. It's time to start putting people in jail
that's
that
it.
break the law. Or we're never going to have any sort of stability in this world.
That's it. All right, man.
Awesome.
Thanks so much.
Thanks,
Talk
Brent.
to you soon. And thank you, folks out there,
Okay.
for listening. Please like and subscribe. Bye now.